Hey, Teddy here. Sorry I've been weeks late with this one. If I can be honest, how I've been as of lately, well, as you can probably tell when knowing my taste in movies, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you how happy I am to see me now be back at the Alamo draft, as at least where it's over here in a state of some sort. And yeah. For those who don't know, yes, fellow New Yorkers, that's right. You can now go to see a movie and I will drop this was in New York City if you wanted to. However, as of right now, as I'm currently recording this, only the one in Brooklyn is currently reopened, but don't worry, fellow Westchester County citizens. The one in Yonkers will reopen. Which I will honestly say this, that yes, I'd be lying if I didn't also tell you all how that yes. When the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers reopens in August, next month from now as I'm currently recording this, this will be there as I rightfully promised myself before. I'm still gonna celebrate 100 subscribers there. However, when figuring out when I feel like doing so, well, what better time for me to do so would be nothing more than just, well, begin hosting such things next year. And here's the thing in this case. No, it's not just because of COVID per se, but rather, well, more importantly in this case, well, but rather more of a matter of, well, being able to rightfully plan everything in advance from the get-go was something I just know to do with everything I work on in life, But especially things like this, which, Morgan Ledger on his behalf did get a point out in an episode of MS Crazy Cartoons cast while getting to discussion regarding the entire Star Wars sequel trilogy, in terms of what happened behind the scenes. But yeah, So, yeah. That is when I'm going to begin celebrating 100 subscribers on YouTube channel. So, as for the results, well, let's just say it's been decided that, well, I just felt like redoing it. Which I will honestly say, once the redo for Phase 2 is completed, I will let all of you know, especially here on YouTube as well. But for now, speaking about polls, well, I will say this, that I definitely do have one currently open right now, this time regarding my, if I do the math correctly, 19, 20, oh yes, right. My fourth, and for those who don't know, yes, people, my poll for my fourth annual Viewer's Choice is finally open. Well, at least it's this time of year. However, we wouldn't be just being there to do my fourth annual Viewer's Choice, but also at the same time, I would also consider doing a memoriam Viewer's Choice for this one famous voice actor who sadly passed away this year, simply known as Mark Elliott. Now, for those who don't know who I'm talking about here, well, Mark Elliott, you may remember him more for being the voice of the announcer, as can be heard in hundreds and hundreds of different trailers of all of our favorite, of our least, our all of all our favorite and least favorite childhood Disney movies, both old and new. And yeah. So for Air Transformation parodies for my fourth annual Viewer's Choice, I just felt like for the next annual Viewer's Choices, that I'm going to be doing a non-Disney character for a change. But I will also say this, that for Air Transformation parodies for my fourth annual Viewer's Choice this year, not only going to do one that's non-Disney, but also some that are Disney as well, including one from the days of Walt Disney, as well as including one from the days of Michael Eisner, and one from the days of Bob Iger, and a TV character as well. And yeah. As for any upcoming vlogs I've yet to put out, whether y'all like it or not, yes. Well, now that things are getting bigger and better with this whole pandemic, I will say, this is where it would be inevitable that I may put out more vlogs when I have free time here on the weekend with mom and dad. So the next vlog I decided to do would be E3. However, if I can be honest on my part on whether or not I will ever do one for Super Smash Con, as much as I would love to go, for whatever reason they've been too quiet about this year. Which is a total shame, for normally when it's August, it would have been one of those times of the year. It would have been that time of the year when, after Clam Bake Weekend has passed, I would be at Super Smash Con. You know, I love Smash, you know? But, yeah. But don't worry, I still have not forgotten my 2017 vlog just yet. But yeah, I decided that for the next vlog I'll do, the next special vlog would have to be, the next vlog I decided to do would have to be E3, which I'm really excited to do, I will say. And speaking about discussion about vlogs, it leads me into this particular discussion. What is there to say about such things? Well, how do I put this? Oh, yes, right. As it can come to my understanding, after I did my last update vlog back in spring, I would continue to get harassed over, I would continue to get complaints over uploading more content like this that involves no editing whatsoever. But in the case of vlogs, there's a good reason why normally I don't let there be editing involved, at least once the more quote-unquote official ones. That's because, as I said in the last update vlog, editing of a vlog, especially when that's updated, just comes across as downright unnecessary. And if you're one of those people who still believes that I should edit more vlogs, then there's a good chance you value quantity over quality as much as your guardian would. This not only means for you, Morgan Ledger, but this also means you here who thinks anybody and everybody can top me. If that's the case, shame on you for that. But anyway, so yeah. Yes, which, when it comes to doing vlogs, it is something you will all have to get used to. However, funny enough, speaking of which, I will say, I've been trying to put out as many more parodies as I can, you know? And, yeah, and funny enough, not too long ago, just in time for, if I do the math correctly, 90, 2000, oh yes, just in time for the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong, I felt like doing another Mind Song parody, this time based on Mario saying no from the CDI, from that crappy CDI Mario game, if y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And to give it all a recap, why I do it this year, but not last year, well, y'all have to know that Mario technically made his first appearance in Donkey Kong, not in Super Mario Brothers, you know? Hence, that's how whenever Nintendo on their behalf ever felt like making any Mario spin-off games, I do have characters I do have Donkey Kong as well as other characters affiliated with them, such as Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and King K. Rool as examples, all popular Mario games and Nintendo that we had wanted to. With King K. Rool also having to appear as a playable character in Mario Super Sagas for the Nintendo Wii, and yeah, that's why I decided. That's how you got Mario and his reaffirmation his appearance in Donkey Kong. However, even though I did make myself perfectly clear that normal, I don't edit vlogs, not even that updates. I did, however, make one rare exception to the rule last year. That is back in spring 2020. That's because, as you guys are watching this, can all observe what happened back when it would have been still spring 2020 of all things. Now it's back when this whole coronavirus pandemic, this whole pandemic dedicated to COVID-19 all began, All beginning with a bang where we as everyday people all get locked up in our homes for the sake of our own safety and health, except taking trips to the hospital when catching COVID for whatever reason. And yeah, as well as in some cases, certain workers doing what they can to make sure that we as everyday people can get what we all need safely. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that the only reason why I let their editing be involved in my spring 2020 update vlog is because, well, up to that point in time, as you can probably tell, when everyone happened in the world, especially in New York, we as everyday people, especially the entire disabled community living in group homes, which I would still be living as recording this, all got locked up in group homes, which I will admit, especially sadly had be the case with me throughout the majority of the entire spring season last year. And if I can be honest, while I'm here on camera, when last summer kicked in starting in June, well, that's because, well, luckily for me, I will say, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you all that, yeah, I would most certainly be one of the very first group home residents living in New York. So we're finally given the right to not only go home seeing my mom and dad like what I'm doing right now as I'm currently recording this, but also on top of being able to go home and see my mom and dad, I would always do the last summer during the month of June would also be when I would also get to go out to the local community as much as I can. Thus, not only getting back into vlogging back then if I wanted to, but also thus allowing me to get back to work on casual reviews with Bear Rimshot when I want to. And yeah, whether you all like it or not, that especially means you, Nicholas Center, if you're watching this. And the same can also be said about you, Joey Heller, as well, who for those who don't know, Joey Heller is now officially my editor, or should I say my current editor, I will say. Anyways, yeah, casual reviews of Bear Rimshot, I will say, is still on hiatus at the moment for a number of reasons. Including of how, well, when I'm ready to work with my current editor, generally wouldn't be until when COVID is over. Not only that, but also, when being honest, how I've been with casual reviews as of lately, well, let's just say, to keep this long story short, as you guys watching this can probably obviously tell, the more I finish up my entire Disney movie marathon for casual reviews of Bear Rimshot, the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments, this is what leading me finding less and less time to put out more parodies. Hence, next thing you know, I would continue to get complaints no end for not only continuously putting up content like this, what I'm doing right now, as you're watching right now, of how not only am I putting up more so-called 90-minute videos, as you can probably see for yourself, but also On top of that, I'm now getting complaints over putting up content like this where there's no editing involved, you know? That's what, and yeah, that is a really real reason on one out of two big reasons why I'm currently taking a break from casual reviews and instead, considering what major hits my so-called hits my consider what major so-called hits my work and parodies have been. This is where if you're one of those people who enjoy my work and parodies, let alone if you're one of those people like them, where I was getting sick and tired of me putting out content like this, where not only would it be content like this out past the hour mark, but also no editing involved, well, I'm sure all of you will love to hear me say this. That yes, people, I will be putting out more and more parodies. In fact, it's what I've been doing as of lately, just to keep all of you guys entertained while still having the need to wait for the next episode of Casual Reviews with Bear Rimshot. However, that is never meant to be said that I can never do any more work on Casual Reviews with Bear Rimshot while in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. In fact, I could do more work right now on the show if I wanted to, but it's just that, well, when I'm ready to film, don't expect until the pandemic is over, or at the very least, as intended on my part. Wait till Governor Andrew Cuomo on his behalf. How do I put this? Until Governor Andrew Cuomo on his behalf decides to lift up mask restrictions. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it that as of right now, as I'm currently recording this, even though technically on my behalf, I will say, already would have been vaccinated on my part, well, either way, I still have to wear a mask to some degree. Especially while using public transportation to places, Well, that's because, just, I get it that, to some degree, like when I'm using public transportation, that I should be using my mask if I had to, if I'm being asked to. Which, funny enough, whenever I'm out in the community, I still do that. Especially being somebody who, when getting to places, I'd usually take public transportation more so than I would, drive. But that's just me for the sake of my own safety, I will say, Just knew I would want to get to wherever I need to go safely, but that's just me. But, yeah. That's why, anyway, so, yeah. That's why, for what you can see, for what I did back in spring 2020, I just felt like, well, that's why I made up this road trip. And by letting it be editing involved is because, this whole pandemic, Yeah, surely you can say COVID is still going around at this time as I'm currently recording this, but, let's be honest here, at least things are obviously getting, bigger and better. Especially as you got more and more people getting vaccinated. And let's be honest with you, the only reason why more people are getting vaccinated is, let's us Americans all be thankful that Trump is no longer our president. But instead we got someone like Joe Biden. I'm sorry I felt like bringing up politics in this, but, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you all how much I hate Donald Trump, He's just crap, He's inhumane and should be burnt in hell when it comes to Trump. But, yeah. I hate Donald Trump. Screw Trump. But anyways. And now let's do... And now it's time to do a recap over a number of different things I feel like needs to be addressed. Now, the first thing I feel like... another thing I feel like needs to be addressed is a recap. This time, beginning with a bang on... Now, for those speaking about what happened last year, for those who don't know, last summer would have been when, yes, Now, something I would continue to get asked to know and over and over again would be, is to move on. One of those requests like them, I will say, that I would continuously get to know and would include being able to move on from the Richard Guardian. Now, I'm going to be honest here with you all that no matter how many times all of you people keep asking such questions, keep doing this, especially in you, Henry, you will all be given the same answer, which in this case, no matter how many times you ask me to move on from the Richard Guardian, I'm really not going to lie when I say this, but I've already been moved on from the Richard Guardian. In fact, I'm not even going to lie about myself when I say this. It's been years since I last talked to that pig, obviously. But yeah. And I'm sure all of you guys are probably going to be asking me why the fridge do I continue to talk about it. What's leading me to do so? I mean, yes, there were moments like this in the past where when Azuchi Guardian, on his death, for whatever reason, would continuously bug me in no end. But, let's all be thankful that he doesn't do that anymore. In fact, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you all of that. Not only for whatever reason, I managed to get away into having not one, but 2 peaceful consecutive Christmases in a row without Azuchi Guardian bugging me for whatever reason. But also, on top of enjoying 2 happy Christmases without Azuchi Guardian bugging me, I'd be lying if I couldn't speak up about myself that when being asked how my years this year so far isn't currently recording this, I can go on all day what makes this year, I will say, I'm sure people like them, including Wizina, had as it were spent over moments like this, can see where I'm going, and when I even say this, that yeah. I'd be lying if I didn't mention of how that, yeah. 2021, I will honestly say, as I said on Facebook, would be a much better year for me than 2020 in a number of different ways. Including the fact that, you got moments of how that, for the first time ever since my 24th birthday has passed last year, starting with a bang when Mother's Day weekend kicked in this year, I've been going back to the, like I was saying, I have been seeing a lot of movies at the Alamo Draft House while still in New York. Which in this case, still going to Brooklyn, but cannot wait to go back in Yonkers when August comes. So if you're all wondering what movies I saw there so far ever since I first came back to the Alamo, where it's New York City in general of some sort, one of the first movies I saw include Mortal Kombat, which, being as some gamer and when understanding how I handle living my life as a content creator, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you how much I really enjoyed it for what it is, Definitely one of the better video game movies, one of the best video game movies based on a video game to ever exist. I will honestly say. Then, of course, you got Street Gang, which is this Sesame Street documentary, as well as the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I will honestly say would have been one of my favorite live-action movie franchises, right up there with Harry Potter and Star Wars, I will say. And then, of course, I also saw Raya and the Last Dragon there, and I also, thankfully found the time to see An American Tail, and, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and, also saw Cruella, and, whatchamacallit, and I recently also saw Black Widow yesterday during my lunchtime as I'm currently recording this, and yeah, I liked it. But, yeah. But anyways, going back to answering the question on why I keep talking about it as your guardian. Yeah, well, like I was saying, the worst offense to me that made me feel like doing so would involve it used to bug me. But at least, like I was saying before, I can go on all day on what makes 2020 better year for me than last year. Not just going after news again, draft house, but also the fact that you got this show called Death Battle, which I enjoyed watching. The show called Death Battle, which for whatever reason broke too many fan rules that could have otherwise been made for that show. I will honestly say. And to make matters even better for me as well, thank God when my birthday kicked in, even though the lesser of two evils for this one, thank God Azuchi Guardian, for whatever reason, didn't feel like bugging me while still being allowed to do whatever felt was right. And yeah, And on top of that, let's not also forget my birthday this year, as well as the past two Christmases as I'm currently recording this. I did get a number of presents I would have otherwise been happy with. Like, for example, got myself a GP2Win Max to replace my GP2Win 2. Brand new iPad for me to typically use for script writing. And on top of that, also got myself some more new games, especially for my birthday this year. Got myself a ton of new games for me to enjoy either on my Steam account or my PlayStation 3 or on my Nintendo. Some from under my Steam account, some from my PlayStation 3, some from my Nintendo Switch, and yeah. And one of those games I did get for my birthday this year would include Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, thankfully. Yeah. Anyways, whatchamacallit? Oh, yes. Right. However, back onto Azuchi Guardian. Having him bug me in the past, no end, I will honestly say, would be nothing more than just a tip of the iceberg. Also, there has been so much crap, and I mean so much crap, that made me feel like doing so. However, on top of feeling bugged out by him to no end, it also can come to my understanding on my behalf that, there's this one interesting event that occurred back in 2016 that which, from my understanding, ever since 2017, picking up memberships correct, I would just get messages on to no end, both publicly and privately, about this. If you all don't know what the fridge I'm talking about here, I'm talking about, of course, of that time when I first attended to MagFest, where to that point in time, when I was enjoying my time being at MagFest, I was going on and my fanboy, and then I minimally got all so harsh on Star versus the Force of Evil. Which, when I look back at that moment when I first came to MagFest, that time when I got all anime fanboy, I'm not even gonna lie about this when I say this, but I'd be lying if I didn't tell you how proud I am in doing so, and here's the thing. I'm just doing my job to show not just to all my wonderful support, but also for respect for anime. Besides, for what I would always do to anime, typically speaking, it wasn't like I was gonna go all Chris Trott on him. In fact, we here at Macedo Productions don't even like what Chrissy Trotter did to anime. Because, and as I continue to bring such moments up, next thing you know, the sad thing about being an Animat fan of my part is that, as proud as I am in being an Animat fan, I will say, but it is a shame you've got people on the internet like them who exist, who somehow love to go all Chrissy Trotter on me in regards to things like, I got Caleb Corger, who's guilty of going all Chrissy Trotter on me over moments like this, but also Harry Henry. And yeah, as you guys are watching this, can obviously tell regarding how both Caleb Corker and Harry Henry can obviously be with me, how I can be with Animat. People like them don't just brainlessly have no idea how much Animat did make an impact on me, mostly for the better. In fact, there's a good reason why I continue to cherish Animat, because I'm going to be honest here that if it weren't for Animat, some amazing stuff would not have occurred, you know? Like, I can go on all day and everything good that occurred, of all good things that occurred because of Alamo. And yeah, for what Caleb Corker and Harry Henry put me through regarding I'm living my life as an Anna fan, not only is it hurting me, but also it's daunting to the Battles community. And let's not also forget about Scout Art as well. For those who don't know what Scout Art has to do with all this, well, it does come to my understanding that there is this fellow anime fanboy named Scout Art who, from my understanding, not only created a number of fan-made animated videos dedicated to anime, but also on top of that, did also create his own set of animation lookbacks. This time, looking back at the unappreciated side of animation. This time, I'll be beginning with a bang with Warner Bros. Feature animation, which I will honestly say, if you are one of those people who love watching Animat in general, that you should go give Scout Art a chance to watch, you know? But yeah, for I feel like Scout Art does a good job for what he does for animation look back. And let's not also forget that, you know, yeah, if it weren't for anime, I can go on all day on everything good that would occur because of anime, you know? Like, of course, if it weren't for anime, not only would I not consider creating Casualty's Baron Shot, but also there'd be not one but two video game history shows I plan to make whenever I feel like the time is right that would naturally occur because of anime as well, being the Super Smash Bros. Files and Video Game Look Back. And yeah, for those who don't know, yeah, it looks like I'm going to be the one making such shows, I will say. Which I'm highly excited about whenever I feel like the time is right, I will say. But for right now, I'm still going to need to put out more casual reviews of Baron Shot episodes at the moment when I can. But yeah. And on top of, but anyways, when regarding that time when I used to be so harsh on Star vs. Wars Evil back when I was switching up my life in high school, well, that's when, if you ever come ask me what I think about Star vs. Wars Evil, now I'm not going to want to say how much I enjoy it now. Maybe not. I like it now. Maybe not. Love it like I do House of Mouse, but you know, your typical Disney afternoon, or Disney on Saturday morning, or classic Disney Channel TV show, but you know, it's a harmless girl show, I will say, but yeah. But yeah, the only reason why I did start being so harsh on Star vs. Force of Evil is because, you know, Azuchi Guardian, as you guys can clearly see, can never be accepting the fact that regardless of where I go with epic battles, I'm still straight, you know? Which can explain why I did actually call him out as a sex offender. As well as one of those moments like this when I did call Azuchi Guardian as a retard when I want to. So there's no reason why you should be butthurt about when you say these things about Azuchi Guardian. It's you, Harry Henry, and especially when it's you, Tim Johnson. But yeah, you know? However, when being completely honest on why I not only did continue to be so harsh on Star Wars of Evil to no end, I won't put in my lifetime, even up to the point when I called it out to be overrated when I was at MagFest one time, but also when being completely honest, why the fridge, I did want to make up the strict majority rule, which I will admit, I did so as an OSHA regulation. I'm a state of productions, and I'm not going to lie when I say that, but I'm also not going to lie when I say this, but Not only God is Guardian will play a part in those moments, but also there are not one, but two individuals throughout the whole entire St. Chris community who, like Azuchi Guardian, did play a part over those two moments in all the state of history. And I'm talking, of course, of Ethan Brown and Mr. Hardin. Which I'm sure as I can probably tell on my behalf when everyone thought the whole entire Boston community is hearsay such things that both Ethan Brown and if say you're one of those people thought the whole entire Boston community would hear me say that both Ethan Brown and Mr. Hardin would most certainly play a part on how not only can I be so harsh when I went back to high school, but also the same can also be said about why I even bothered to give the strict majority rule as nothing more than just an OSHA regulation of state productions. Well, as it can come to mind, when talking to people throughout the whole type of community like them who exist, that people like them are definitely going to be infuriated when they hear me say that. And I can tell that is the case because, as it can come to my understanding, my friend Dante and his BF will never let go of My Little Pony characters for Epic Battles anytime soon. But, the fact that it may be the case with My Little Pony that will never get let go out of Epic Battles nowadays anytime soon anymore still doesn't change my mind that I'm still straight. But, yeah. And then, of course, the most recent reason that made me feel like talking about it can also include, well, let's just say there are people like them who exist who just love to remind me of bad memories out of the Guardian. Let alone so they sound like, I guess you could say. Like, not only got such retarded bozos like Keith Korger, Alexander Bella, Chris Trotta, and Mia Reyes were as prime examples who enabled Zuchi Guardian as well as Aaron Adolfo. But also on top of retarded bozos like them, you also got like Mixtape who enables Zuchi Guardian, Morgan Ledger who enables Zuchi Guardian in tandem with Earl Wheatley. And then, of course, you also got Harry Henry, who, from my understanding, thinks anyone and everyone can top me, who thinks I'm inferior to everyone else in the world. Yeah, that's Harry Henry in a nutshell. He just loves being a troll while engaging with me. I especially remember, that's Harry Henry in a nutshell. He loves to wish death on me when he wants to. In fact, yeah, that's Harry Henry in a nutshell. He just loves taking too many things I said wrong, go make a political reaction over moments like this, and spew venom at me over moments like this. Which can especially be true for moments like of how I would handle with work on vlogs, as well as of how I would consider making my own set of airing information periods, always uncensored. And of course, it comes to my understanding that Harry Henry also carries such a long history and continuously continuously mocking me for when something bad happens. Like, it also does come to my understanding that Harry Henry also has a problem with the fact that I love Mr. Goodfriends, which really does hurt not just me, but also the rest of Macedo Productions as well as the entire, as well as the rest of my time, especially those points that ask me. And here's the thing why the fridge I say that. If it weren't for Mr. Cohen and Friends, I would not be the internet reviewer who I am. And on top of that, God who knows, there could have been moments of the whole entire story, the whole entire story and topic battle saga like this, where there could have been times where either Mr. Code or someone who has worked from the past could have impacted the entire story of some sort just as much as what Catch from Our Poet Universe did, as well as Catch from some other animated works like the works of Walt Disney as worst offenders and moments like this. And yeah. And if you have a problem with me making an uncensored version of information about child pornography, well, let me tell you that, funny enough, we here at Macedo Productions always have had a zero tolerance for child pornography. Anyways, if anything, it's more of a matter of, well, if you ever seen me do Rule 34 on not just any of the Disney princesses, but also certain other beautiful Disney girls like them who exist, that's because most Disney girls like them who exist tend to look more like they're more grown up. Of course, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you all that, Of course, there's certain Disney girls, there's certain cartoon girls, and, we here in Macedo Productions would never let be used for pornography, let alone do any form of Rule 34 on them, which can especially with characters like Leela we would never do, an Ice Climber rep, a Dr. Seuss rep, definitely not DW, and yeah. And yeah. And if you think me making up this one video back in 2019 when I did discuss Robin Williams of all things is that bad, let alone just nobody asked for it, as what Colin John from Source Games say. Perhaps you brainless, you have no idea why the fridge. I would do so anyways, which, to keep this long story short, you have to understand on what's been going on with, say... Now, for those who don't know, yes, folks out there, especially those part of the topic Best community watching this, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you all of how that, yeah, I most certainly have my own set of Epic Battles related projects, which I will honestly say that I would have loved to work on, including games, adapting my own work on parodies in general onto comics, as well as on top of making my set of Epic Battles games, as well as adapting my own work on parodies in general to comics. Also would love to host my own set of Epic. I also would love to host my own set of Epic Battles community events, my own set of community events at the Alamo Draft House, which I just knew that I want to make sure that if you're someone who enjoys something I did in the past, if you really enjoy, if you're one of those people who enjoy something I did in the past, then you should be happy to hear that, yeah, I've been doing all I can to make as many of my fans happy as I can. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll still do my own thing as much as I can, but, I'm going to be honest here that when figuring out how to handle Capricia for certain things, something I will say I've been trying to do is I've been trying to reach out to at least this one person who say, from my experience, all 6 Epic Battles movies, and I've been trying to reach out to more people like that who can help me with research for my own Epic Battles related projects. I'm especially trying to reach out to people like them, people that don't talk about me, like them who exist, people like them who exist who have knowledge of Epic Battles movies, but I've been trying to get my hands on protocols on what Dante would think if I did this or that. And something that I just knew all of you guys who enjoy what I do would love to hear that, yes. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you all of how that I would consider using my own work and parodies, and how all of you guys watching this can obviously tell of how certain events can be put on hold until further notice. I know how much a lot of you enjoy it to the point that I just knew you guys want to see more of that, which I will, of course. I will, yeah. And, yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing to have not seen Epic Battles, but spreading fan rules about it is unacceptable. Well, I'm being completely honest, I've been with research on Epic Battles related projects. I will honestly say, let's just say as of right now, I just feel like, well, I have no idea what the fridge I'm doing with my own Epic Battles related projects. Well, to keep this long story short, let's just say I feel like, well, misunderstanding on what goes on with Epic Battles. Maybe not as much as I used to per se, but there's this person who I known from childhood named Francis is like, who, from my understanding, continues to make up a number of stupid fan rules. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Francis is always wrong about everything about Epic Battles. Of course, Francis, on his behalf, as it can come to my understanding, when talking to everybody else throughout the whole Epic Battles, coming over moments like this, he can be right about certain stuff about Epic Battles when he wants to be, I will say. It's just that, there are moments like this where Francis would go make up fan rules to no end when he wants to. Again, that's not to say that he's always wrong about. It's not to say that he's all wrong about all things Epic Battles, Of course, he can be right, like I was saying. I was just not talking about such things. He can be right about certain things when he wants to be, I will say, Yeah. But anyways, yeah. And, how do I put this? Oh, yes, right. And, yeah, that's what's been bugging me, and I've been as co-creator of Epic Battles as well, that I feel like I'm going through 20 fan rules being made up for Epic Battles. Which is a total shame for, something I like to do when I do research is I tend to look up the facts more so than just the fantasies, I'm sure people like Carrie Henry, as an example, seem to brand this because I take research and you don't, I will say, but yeah. And then in recent memory, you also got certain individuals from Source Gaming who know how to be like Izuchi Garden when they want to, which can be true with the case of Condron, as well as Hylio, and especially Liquid. So with the case of Condron, and the same can also be said about Nintendix, in my understanding, they also love to be like Euro Wheatley as well, and yeah. Izuchi Garden would be the only bully I had in my life, let alone the only troll in this case I had in my life who, from my understanding, I would get continuously reminded of to no end. But also there's another major troll I have out there who, like Izuchi Garden, comes all the way from Yonkers, New York, where if you think what I do to Izuchi Garden is really that bad just because surely I may have been so harsh on him in the past when I felt like it. Perhaps you brainlessly have no idea you got this person who can do anything and everything worse than he does, and I'm talking, of course, of Euro Wheatley. Speaking about him, yes. When it comes to Euro Wheatley, yeah, if you think what I do to Izuchi Garden is all that bad, just because surely I may have been so harsh on him in the past when I want to be. Perhaps you all brainlessly have no idea that you got Euro Wheatley on this guy who can do anything and everything worse than I can. At least with me, sure you can say that I can be considered as one of those people in general like them who can be so harsh on him when desired to be. But at the very least, I will honestly say, not even gonna lie when I say this, at least I do have a better understanding when encounters so-called mistakes being made. At least I do have an honest understanding when in reality, when someone like is great as a prime example, just cannot help but does what he's passionate about and does love, because let's be honest here, we as content creators can all go through that in life of some sort, one way or another. And yeah, and plus, I'm really also not gonna lie with this. I did all I can to play things nice when I just knew I need to be. But Uriel, on the other hand, he cannot understand crap about how other people can feel. Hence, as you guys can clearly see when I made the last update vlog, well, this is why I called him out as a retard, Of course, it wouldn't be the only thing I would dismiss Uriel as. Uriel Wheatley, I will say, would also be somebody who I can also dismiss him out as the following things: nutjob, neo-Nazi, lunatic, terrorist, and would most certainly be somebody who I can easily call out as a mental psychopath, I will say. Yeah, that's your Wheatley in a nutshell. He isn't who I can easily call out as a mental psychopath, I will say. And yeah, it is a total shame that you got people like them who exist who just want to follow, some people like them who exist who just love to follow the footsteps of Hero Wheatley, just as much as there can be more people like them who would do so with the Zuzu Guardian. It's a total shame because, let's be honest, the only reason why you want me to believe that Fab Morgan will handle his criticism of Zuzu Guard just flat out constructive is that, most people do so, as you can probably see, as you can probably tell, especially with me being the absolute worst offender for moments like this, can be constructive. But with the case of how Morgan Ledger would handle his own criticisms on Azuchi Garden, if you think having something to complain about Azuchi Guardian is always a good thing, just because most people like myself, as a prime example, let alone a worse offender in this case, tend to be more quote-unquote constructive, I guess say. Perhaps you're all brainless, you have no idea that you got Wheatley on his behalf, who I will honestly say, who when getting to know you all, let's just say he just gives critics such a bad name, I will say. Yeah, that's Euro Wheatley in a nutshell. He just gives critics such a bad name. But whatever you guys do, this especially means you, Harry Henry, as well as all the Driving Legions, as well as all of the Source Gaming, stay away from Euro Wheatley, aka MK Gamer 94. He is a neo-Nazi, he is a mental psychopath, he's a lunatic, he's a terrorist, he's a rapist. He's everything wrong with humanity, Because, yeah. What I'm trying to say here about Hero is that, let's just say he's somebody who I guess you say will get it done, he's just that toxic, I will say. And, yeah. And speaking about toxic individuals, let's end off this season's update vlog with a bang by getting to one more discussion regarding Mike Mixtape. Oh, before I get into that, I almost forgot to mention how that throughout class of 2019, back when I did Project Search, I'd also get continuously bombarded with of how that time when I called Morgan a pedophile, which, yeah, I'm really not gonna lie how much I regret doing those things to a point that I even got to apologize over such things. But it still doesn't change my mind, though. The fact that it may be wrong that I do such things still doesn't change my mind on not only what a mental hitter Fred Morgan can be, but also how trollish he can be with his more so-called disabled viewers. As can, and you know how I can tell Morgan can now be such a troll against people like them, but also, let alone someone I can call him out as an ableist when I want to. Not only can he be such a troll, well, if I can be honest, how I can tell how that Morgan can be trollish while engaging with his more disabled viewers, let alone somebody who has no respect for viewers' disabilities. Not only can that be true with me as an absolute worst offender, but also you got there's your guardian who would go through that same crap, but who cares about him? And on top of that, in recent memory, not only can Morgan Ledger be guilty of doing stuff like this, but also can come to mind soon that you got Jaime Toad on his behalf who do the same exact crap with anyone with a disability, which can only be true with me, but also when understanding of how Jaime Toad can be with his good nowadays, it comes to mind saying that he thinks Gerard Wheatley is nothing more than just a masterpiece, let alone God. If that's the case, shame on you for that, because, yeah. Gerard Wheatley, like I said before, he is a mental psychopath. Let me tell you that for a fact, as well as a neo-Nazi, But, and And, yeah. Another fellow disabled individual who also would get same exam treatment because of that, as much as I understand can be well engaged with not just Morgan Ledger, but also with Heinrich would have to be an individual who I will honestly say is more trustworthier than his guardian, and I'm talking, of course, of Joshua Hartzler, aka the Duke of Arts. For those who don't know, last spring, while the pandemic began, I did indeed get into discussion of Joshua Hartzler, aka the Duke of Arts. When it comes to Joshua, let me tell you all that especially means you two more, as well as you, Hymanton, let's try news of how that as you can probably tell, I'm getting to know about Joshua Hartzler's personality. He's just doing nothing more than just what he loves, you know. So I don't see where the fridge things go wrong when somebody's just doing something he or she loves, because, you know, surely there can be such thing as a toxic fans, but let's be honest here. When it's getting people like me and Joshua Hartzler, we are both doing nothing more than just what we love. After all, there is a saying of how that you should always do what you love, you know? And that can not only be the case with Joshua Hartzler, but also the same thing can also be said about me as well, you know? And it is just rather sad that there can be people like them who just don't seem to brainlessly seek out that I'm just doing on a pack, especially when you see me do something like something involves anime or stuff like that, you know? Especially when I get into making my work in Air Transformation parodies, this is what is leading people like them, including Harry Henry as an example, to be misunderstanding on why I would do so, you know? Because, you know, as much as I can find understandable that not everyone can handle mature content, would be one thing for that, but, you know, that still doesn't change my fact that it's one of those things that I would have still loved to either way. But that's because, you know, if you know me, then you know how much I love Disney. Hell, even anyone who knows Epic Battle stuff, I've seen Epic Battles, can tell you of how that Disney, on their behalf, would have held the record as the Guinness World Record as the company represented in Epic Battles with the most amount of screen time, even counting in stuff like Marvel for comic books and Star Wars for live action, which is getting as much screen time as Disney as well. And yeah. And now before I can end off the season's update vlog with a bang, let's end off the season update vlog with a bang by discussing Mike Mixtape. Now you all may be wondering what the fridge is there to say about Mike Mixtape. Well, the last time I felt like doing so, I were back on good terms, but now, as of last year, I'm done with him, you know. Being honest, what I called him out is I guess you could say it's the same exact reason why I called him out as a retard. I guess you could say that the thing that haunted me about my mixtape was that, you know, as it can come to my understanding on my behalf, Mike on his behalf did actually state of how that if, say, he continues to do the same arc chord crap all over and over again, that I have right to speak up to him privately as much as I did. He doesn't need to listen, just can't explain why. Well, I called him out as a Guardian clone, you know? Yeah, that's Mike Mixtape in a nutshell. He just loves to remind me of so many bad memories I had with the Zuchi Guardian. Which is a total shame. And on top of that, let's not also forget how you guys can tell how hypocritical he can be when he wants to be. And yeah, that's how I've been with Mike Mixtape in a nutshell. I'm done with him, you know? He's just somebody who somehow would not only flat out lie about things when he wants to, but also can easily play things hypocritical when he wants to be. And yeah, that is pretty much this season's update vlog. This is Teddy Macedo signing out.